Alright, let's imagine that we want to make... No, let's not imagine. Let's actually do it. No. But imagine for a moment that we have to add some text to a document, and we want that text to be kind of grungy, where the edges of the type are a little roughened and so on. Well, we have a couple of options. One option would be to apply a filter directly to this, but there's two possible problems with that. The first is, of course, you can't apply a filter to the type layer, so I'd have to duplicate that, hide that original type layer, and then we're going to rasterize this. Now I could apply a filter like, say, brushstroke spatter, something like that. It'll get a nice kind of grungy look to it. Looks pretty good here, but the problem is it's using the background color, so you get all this white. Now you can get rid of it, but the other major problem with this, of course, is you can't change your mind about the type. So here's how I would do it. This is going to be a way that's going to give us lots of flexibility, including a pretty easy way to change the type. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring in my actions palette, and in my actions I'm going to create a new one called rough text and start recording. Now this is going to assume that I already have a type layer there, so that's very important that before you record the action, add your basic type layer. And then we're going to hold down Command or Control, click on that type layer to load it as a selection. Depending on the typeface and the size of it, you may or may not want to do this next step. I'm going to modify this and contract it by 1 pixel. Then we're going to click on the Add Layer Mask button. Remember, of course, this is all being recorded by our action. And with the layer mask active, I'm going to go and apply that same spatter filter. And you'll see it has that really nice grungy look to it. Now, it might be just a little too much for my liking, so I'm going to go back to Fade Spatter and just fade it just ever so slightly. And then we're going to stop recording. Whoops, I clicked on the New Layer button instead of that. So we'll just... This is just to show you how easy it is to take out a step in an action. Okay, there we go. So, now we can get rid of this. So, here's the deal. If you now decide that you like the look of the grunginess, but it's the wrong typeface, here's all you have to do because we've made that action. Delete the layer mask, and let's go ahead and change this to something else. Doesn't really matter, but I just want it to be something quite different. And then basically, I just have to run the action. And just like that, we have our grungy type. Now, let's go ahead and throw that away again, because the other option would be, now that we have the action created, let's make this so we can see it, that maybe you want to have the option in these two cases to actually experiment. So now this time it'll run the action, but when it gets to this step, it'll actually open the spatter dialog box, and I can decide what kind of setting that I want. Something like, say, this perhaps. Click OK. Now it also brings up the fade where I recorded it, so I could decide not to fade it at all or fade it quite a bit if I want a slightly lower effect. I think I'm going to fade it less this time. So there you go, a very simple way to experiment, try all kinds of roughened edge type without losing the ability to edit your type. Now I'd like to tell you you could take this exact same technique and use it with the photo, and I suppose you could, but you really shouldn't. You know, this making type rough is really a serious business, so we need to show it the respect it deserves. I'm Dave Cross. I'll see you next time.